Coach. Mark, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
We're joined now by head coach of the Florida Gators, Todd Golden. Coach, welcome to the Final Four.
Thank you.
We'll take an opening statement from you, then we'll get questions from our reporters in the crowd.
Obviously thrilled to be here. Really proud of our program, our staff, our players for the way we performed all season. Made it through a heck of a SEC, best conference in basketball over the past 20 years. Obviously won the SEC tournament, which we're really proud of. And, have done what we needed to do to find a way to get to the Final Four. And, being our third year here, leading this program, myself and our staff are really pleased with the progress we've made and excited to see what we're able to do this weekend.
We're looking for the first question for Coach Golden. We'll go to the backside on the right. And Myron.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Todd, you all were undefeated in November, December. Then you lose that game to Kentucky. Elijah Martin said you all needed that loss. How do you think that prepared you all to kind of regroup and get to what we've seen today?
I honestly was really as excited as you could be after a loss after that game because, a lot of people had questioned, this the strength of schedule that we had played in the non-conference and, going on the road, playing in Rupp against a team that we knew was really good. We didn't guard necessarily well enough, but we played well in that game, and it was a back and forth. It was a great game, and I think in a way it gave us some confidence moving forward. Obviously, 3 or 4 days later, we beat Tennessee at home when they're number one in the country by 30. And I think that week with those two contests kind of explained to us and built a lot of belief within our program that we belonged, at the top of the SEC.
To the center of the room, John.
John Fanta, Fox Sports. Todd, we were talking in the locker room with a couple of your guys, and Micah said, I knew last summer that we had this type of group in terms of the close-knitness of this team. And he said it kind of says a lot about our staff because 80% of us are different transfers that have come into the program. So how do you navigate the climate to try to get the guys that you know are going to fit to the degree that this group has fit, and what can you say about the way this group's fit?
Yeah, well, this team, the process of kind of building this roster out started 3 years ago. When we got down to Gainesville, and I point to Will Richard as kind of being the starting point for us. He was the first young man that committed to our program when we got the job, and I can't say enough about what Will has done for us. As a program since he's been here, and after the first year, we were very active, in the transfer portal, and we were fortunate enough to get Walter Clayton, to get Zion Pullen, Tyrese Samuel, Micah Hand-Lockton specifically, and kind of had some unknown freshmen at the time that we got that I don't think a lot of people outside of our building appreciated. I point to Tommy and Kondo specifically with those guys and Denzel kind of growing up. And then obviously last year we had a good year, make it to the SEC tournament championship game, but fall short in the NCAA tournament. And we felt like we needed a additional, layer of toughness, physicality, experience to kind of bridge that gap for this nucleus that we had returning. Did a great job keeping our nucleus, and then obviously just the addition of Elijah, Ruben and Sam, that group. You just really finish this team. And, we have great guys that are unselfish, that enjoy playing together. I think our staff's done a good job defining roles so everybody understands what their job is to help us win. But it goes back to the players. They've been incredibly unselfish. They've allowed us to coach them. And they're very consistent. They compete every day. And, so it's been 3 years in the works, and I'm just really happy, with the success we've had.
Coach, we'll go to the right side of the room, just to the left of the aisle. You can come up just a little bit. We need the microphone up in the second row. No, keep coming up. Right there, and then right behind. Next 2 questions. Front left, Mike.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway, Gainesville Sun. Coach, how much is getting on the stage proof of concept for your analytics approach, and how have you balanced that maybe over the last 3 years with going with your gut at times?
We're very analytical in everything we do. We talk about that a lot. Whether it's roster building, whether it's scheduling, whether it's deciding who we want to play, game scouting reports, et cetera. And it's more of than any one specific thing. The way I want to like to explain it is more of just a macro outlook on our decision making and how we build out. We would try to gather as much data as we possibly can. when it comes to any sort of decision, and then make what decision that data tells us to make, and then you got to live with the consequences, and it's not always going to work. But life's not perfect. You want to give yourself the best chance to be successful and live with the results. And I think it shows great proof of concept. We try to bridge that gap also of being analytical while also using a little bit of a human element to maybe make some certain decisions. But big picture wise, obviously, I think where we are right now and the way we've done it is really good proof of concept with the way we're trying to build our program.
Same area, one row back. You can stay right there.
Yeah, to Edgar Thompson, the Orlando Sentinel. Todd, what did that Auburn game tell you about Walter? I mean, it obviously had many pretty amazing performances to date. Coming off an injury, though, then career high 9 assists, very efficient, 6 rebounds on top of it. What did you just find out about him that night?
I wouldn't say I necessarily found out anything new, but it just kind of cemented what we've known about him for a long time. He's an amazing player. He was banged up in the Tennessee game that we lost, and we had to make a tough decision coming home that next week in terms of the Vanderbilt game. And the great thing about Walt is he wanted to play like he was going to play on a little bit of a bum angle for his teammates. But we just thought it would make sense to hold him out and try to get him ready for the back half of the season instead of letting him be gimpy down the stretch. And that's the benefit of having a great, deep team. Guys like Denzel Aberdeen steps up in that Vandy game, plays 35 minutes, no turnovers. Irby steps up, hits 2 big threes, and we get through that game with a win. Allows us to get to the Auburn game with a healthy and fresh Walt. And again, he did what he does. Steps up in the biggest moments, played 40 minutes, was elite, scoring the basketball in the first half of the game, and was elite, making plays for others in the second half of the game, just controlled it from start to finish. And, I think things that we internally already knew about him was kind of realized by everybody outside watching that, he was, if not the best, one of the best guards in America, and he certainly displayed that over the back half of the season as well.
Coach, next question is on the left side of the room, just to the right of the aisle.
Yeah, Kevin Sweeney, SI. Todd, you mentioned Tommy and Alex Condon as 2 guys that were important evaluations that helped set you up to be here. I guess could you take me through the process of getting those guys to Gainesville and how important 2 under-the-radar guys have been in getting you to this point?
Yeah, well, I remember, that first summer on the road, I was, with a couple of my coaches and a media guy that I really like and respect, and we were telling him that we wanted Tommy, and he wasn't sure that he was quite good. Oh, wait, that was you, right? That was you. I love messing with you about that. But no, Tommy and Kondo, they're obviously we projected a little bit, with their ability, their talent. They're way more athletic, I think, than people gave them credit for, coming out of high school. And they were both kind of, in undervalued, under-recruited places. Tommy was in Pennsylvania, at prep school. Kondo was playing his 4th year of basketball in Australia. And again, like it sounds cliche, but some that I took from Kyle Smith at Columbia that we've gone great attitudes, great work ethics, guys that really want to be here. And those guys checked all 3 of those boxes. And, they're obviously producing at an insane level right now. They're playing incredibly well, but a lot of it has to do with who they are, as people. And they're high-achieving people. They come from great families, and they were grateful to be at Florida. We didn't have to beg them to come. We didn't have to make any promises, to them to come. It was a mutually beneficial relationship, and I think you're seeing guys like that, and not just in our program, but other places that go into it with that mentality, having a lot more success. And they are incredibly, incredibly, incredibly important to us and how we play and what we do. And they deserve a lot of credit for the success we've had.
Coach, we'll move to the back of the room on the right side.
Oh, hi, Coach. Travis Bradley, Cronkite News out of Arizona State. It obviously means a lot to the Phoenix area to see one of their own succeed at such a high level. But I'm curious for you, if you could go back to your days playing at Sunny Slope High and tell yourself, hey, you'd be coaching a Final Four team at, one of the highest levels of basketball, what do you think you would say?
I would not believe it at that point. When I was back at Sunny Slope, I was just praying that I could find a way to become a Division I basketball player. That was kind of my goal there. But one of the things that I've been incredibly fortunate with all throughout my career is being able to play for and be around really great coaches. And, started at Sunny Slope with Dan Mannix, a Brooklyn guy who's won, in the Arizona State Hall of Fame high school basketball. Steve Rosenbaum, the head assistant, was a guy that instilled a lot of belief, in me in terms of finding a way to become a Division I player. And, we just really understood and got used to winning there. I think we went 77-12 in our 3 years, of my 3 years playing varsity, and just having a level of toughness both physically and mentally before getting to Randy Bennett and St. Mary's. But Sunny Slope, I'll love it forever, man. It's 5 minutes from my house growing up. Just an incredible public school where I met so many different people from so many different walks of life. Have friends for life from there. And, I'm incredibly proud that I could do it as a Viking, being able to be at a place like this.
Coach, center section, we have 3 questions from the 3rd row and 4th row.
Hey, Todd, Zach Maskovich, West 2 Orlando. Kind of going off your history, I know Bruce Pearl gave you one of your first opportunities with college coaching. I was wondering what your relationship is like with him today and how grateful you are to get that start.
We're incredibly close. We have been for a long time now, almost 15 years. And, it's a little surreal, to be honest, to be able to be here at the Final Four. That in itself is a little surreal, but, playing on Saturday against one of your biggest and best mentors, not exactly something you expect, when the season starts. And, I know he's incredibly proud of me. I'm incredibly grateful for him and his family and the opportunities that they provided for me. I would not be here, if I didn't have my relationship and experience, working with and being around Bruce and his son Steven. And it's a little bit of a full circle moment, I'm sure for both of us. And, when the ball goes up on Saturday, it's going to be pretty cutthroat. But, until then, there'll be a lot of love shown and, again, a surreal moment for sure.
Same part of the room.
Hey, Todd, Darren Stoltz with West 2 Orlando. This stage is so different than anything these guys have experienced so far, probably you as well. Why are they ready for the Final Four?
I think the same reason why I've had success all year, is why we'll be okay, being here and this being the first time. We have a very mature group. We have a very unselfish group and guys that are very driven. And, you look at the way we played all year. We've been a very consistent team. We've always been able to bounce back from losses the right way and make sure we get back to who we are and playing well. And, I think we've won 10 in a row coming into this event. And, our guys are not going to be satisfied going home Saturday night. I think going into the mentality that, obviously it will be a great season regardless, but if we lose on Saturday, we'll have a bad taste in our mouths. And, our senior leaders on the perimeter, I think, drive that. Walter, Will, and Elijah kind of make sure our competitive spirit's in the right place, and our young guys in the front court just play so stinking hard. They're going to do whatever they need to do to keep us alive. But, I point to kind of the collective unity of this group as the main reason as to why we deserve to and, we'll do what we need to do on Saturday night to stay here.
Same part of the room, 1 row back.
Todd, Noah Ram with the Gainesville Sun. Just talk about in the locker room just now, guys seem so relaxed. I mean, they're playing Madden, they're chanting DJ Lagway's name. What do you attribute that to? Because this is a new stage for everyone, you included. How are you guys so, in regards to that, ready for this moment? And just, is it the schedule you guys have played, knowing that you belong here and you've beaten some really good teams? Talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think, again, the two things I point to is our team's maturity and our belief. We've had a great season. We won 34 games, and you don't do that by accident. I think our guys understand and know, that when we're at our best, we are one of, if not the best team in college basketball. And, our guys have put in the work. We didn't make it here by accident. We earned the opportunity to be here and to compete. And our guys enjoy doing that on a nightly basis. So, I think they understand what's at stake, but at the same time, they want to enjoy being here and enjoy the fruits of the labor that we've had all year.
Coach, we'll go to the front row, left side right here.
Robbie LaStella, bracketshere.org. Todd, a lot coming into this week was made out of Elijah Martin playing in his second Final Four. How have you kind of seen him step up as a leader, and how important is that to what you're trying to accomplish this week?
Yeah, he's done it for us all year, to be honest. Since the moment he got to campus in the summer, we knew that his experience and his mentality and the way he approached workouts and practice would really help this group. And, I think he's raised the bar for Walt and Will also, coming in and having that Final Four experience. Obviously, Walt and Will are great players, but they hadn't made it there yet. And Elijah simply had a lot of respect in our locker room because of that. And, I talk about adding him and Ruben and Sam in that class. Like, this class has really completed this group, and his leadership is a huge part of that.
Second row center, Jaden.
Todd, Jaden Daly with Daily Dose of Hoops. When Walter was at Iona and you saw him on tape, and even last year, he was significantly better when he had a pure point guard playing alongside him. How did he evolve into a true point guard himself this year and become an All-American on top of that?
He's always had the ability. He's always had a tight handle. He's always been able to make plays out of the ball screen, and obviously been able to score it at an elite level. And I think it was us kind of providing that opportunity for him to take on the ownership of being the lead guard, and obviously surrounding him with guys that fit and that made sense, and that would kind of lift up all the good parts of his game. But again, he's been elite all year. He's done a great job taking care of the ball for us. He's done a great job reading the game and taking what the defense gives him. There's some games where he goes for 15 in the first half, and then he has 7 assists in the second half. He does a great job never getting too high or too low, and controlling the basketball game. And it's the jump we expected him to make, by having that opportunity. And being around Walter every day, you understand how he's wired, and what kind of makes him the competitor he is. And we had a lot of belief in him coming into this year, and obviously he's rewarded us for that belief.
Left side, just to the right of the aisle.
Hi, Todd. Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. How did you react when you heard the SEC called the best conference ever? And since you're assured, the league's assured of a spot to play for the championship, does the SEC have to win the whole thing to kind of back up everything that's been said about it this season?
I think the proof is in the pudding, and so to speak. Just analytically, you look at KenPom, Torvik, whatever it is, it's clear that the SEC was, had the best efficiency margin of any league over the past 20 years, I believe. The success that the league's had in the tournament has been pretty amazing. And to your point, whether it's us or whether it's Auburn, one of us is going to be playing for national championship on Monday night. And, I think that speaks enough for itself. But the league, obviously a lot of respect and a lot of notoriety after the non-conference. And, once you get in league play, people wonder how real it is. And I believe the results that we've had so far in the NCAA tournament speak to that.
Toward the back on the left, Zach.
Zach Braziller, New York Post. Todd, could you take us back to Walter's recruitment? You're obviously going up against a pretty well-named coach there in Rick Pitino and his former school. He said it was very close. What do you remember about the recruitment, and what do you think put you guys over the top?
Yeah, it was incredible to think about. We brought him down for a visit, and obviously, he grew up about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of our campus, so a lot of his family was able to come up for the visit. I thought we had a great visit. I thought it went really, really well. I thought we were in good shape. But it's really hard to beat Rick Pitino, man. And he went back up to New York and did a visit right after Coach Pitino got the St. John's job with one of his great friends, Denise Jenkins, who was a backcourt teammate of his at Iona. And, I remember Easter Sunday, he was finishing up his visit, getting a call from his mom, and she was a little concerned that it maybe had started swinging the other direction for him following Pitino. And, I guess one of the benefits of being Jewish is that I don't celebrate Easter. So we got on a plane that afternoon, flew up, and met with Walt on Easter Sunday evening, me and Coach Corey McCray, and had a great meal. Just kind of talking through everything with him. And before we left that night, he let us know that he was going to come home. And I think just that extra effort going up there and sitting with him and just kind of reconfirming our vision for him and what our program would be like was really important. Obviously, I'm really glad we got on that plane. It was well worth it.
Backside on the left. You can give him the microphone right there. Come up. There we go.
Trevor Denton, Way 31. You've said that Stephen Pearl is one of your closest friends, someone you talk to throughout the season. So how are you feeling right now about coaching up against him on the biggest stage in the Final Four?
It's incredible, man. It's life's all about. We were laughing. We FaceTimed on Sunday after they beat Michigan State, and we were just kind of shaking our heads, like, man, we're legitimately going to the Final Four, competing against each other. A long ways from when we first got down to Auburn. I was the director of basketball operations. In his first year, he was the assistant strength coach, and you can remind him of that when you see him. As I've said before, like, Bruce and Steven are incredibly important to me, and have been really impactful with the opportunities that I've had, and I'm just really grateful for my relationship with them, and I think it speaks volumes about the way we build our programs that we're both so live right now.
Coach, you're going to wrap things up in the center of the room. I'm going to use the back right microphone.
Peter Atticus from Mail.com, you mentioned a little bit ago about, your relationship with Bruce and him kind of being a mentor to you. I'm curious, when you see a matchup like this as possible, do you kind of embrace or excited for the opportunity to go against somebody like that, or does it feel kind of weird playing against, somebody who's been so close and important to you?
Yeah, I don't like it as much in the regular season, but to be, at this point in the year, when you're in the Final Four, like it is what it is. You're going to go out there and do everything you can to take each other out, and so I think in a way we're both, pleasantly surprised, to be competing against each other at this point in the season.
I want to thank Coach Golden for joining us here in the main interview room. Coach is going to head and do his network interviews, and we're going to have an open locker room for Auburn at 12:20 in about 20 minutes. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.